Heads up, this podcast isn't therapy. It's bold, blunt, and irreverent, but it's not a substitute for professional help. Full disclaimer is in the blurb below. On today's Freud Made Me Do It, we're going to look at splitting, essentially someone going from angel to asshole in 60 seconds. So, if you've ever gone from they're my soulmate to they're dead to me in one emotional heartbeat, you're not cursed, you're splitting, and Freud saw it coming. So originally this defense was observed by Freud, but very much sharpened by Melanie Klein and later Otto Kernberg, who linked it to borderline personality structures. Splitting is one of the earliest, most primitive defense mechanisms. It surfaces in intimacy, before we learn that people can be both good and disappointing. So in the oral stage of development, we learn about nourishment and deprivation. When the balance gets disrupted, we split the world into two buckets, i.e. safe or dangerous. Melanie Klein called it the good breast and the bad breast, and that early template doesn't just vanish. So splitting is the inability to hold contradiction. When we're mature, we see that the world is multiple shades of every colour. And you're very much in black and white thinking if you're splitting. It's emotional black and white thinking with flame throwing to boot. So when someone disagrees with you, you cut them off. If they disappoint you once, you erase the decades of loyalty that came before. It's the defense that loves hard and then punishes harder. So our usual real life examples, take the girl who meets the new guy and declares that he's absolutely perfect. They've only been on 2 dates, mind you, and she's Googling rings. 1 week later, he forgets her birthday and she blocks him on every platform. He wasn't perfect, he was human, but she was using splitting to avoid sitting with complexity. Next, the individual who calls her friend a saint absolutely idealizes a new friend, and then the next minute they're beheaded, they're a snake. So if you've ever come across somebody like this, oh, you're the only one who gets them, then if you put down a boundary, you're just like their mother. Spoiler alert, you're not. But this individual can't hold mixed feelings, so they flip the script to protect vulnerability. Then we could have another example, an individual who is either all in or all out. So there's loyalty tests, loyalty rewards. But remember, no one can live on a pedestal, and eventually every single person is going to show their humanity, make a mistake, and they're going to fall from grace. Another example might be the guy who absolutely worships his female partner until she says no. She's a goddess 1 minute, his ultimate queen, he totally and utterly idealizes her. Then perhaps she says no to sex, and now she's cold and using him. He wasn't in love, he was in idealization. And when that crumbles, splitting takes over. Or perhaps a person who calls his boss a mentor and then a tyrant. Perhaps his boss gives him a shot, praises him. He gets his first critique later, and then suddenly he's a micromanaging narcissist. It's not about the boss, it's about his history with male authority and his history with conditional approval. What about the individual who can't accept feedback without feeling betrayed? You say that hurt me, and he hears, oh, you're evil. That's splitting in action. He can't be with a good person and someone who hurt him at the same time, so now you're going to be the problem. So day-to-day examples would be idealizing influencers until they say something problematic, cancelling friends over one awkward dinner, feeling like a failure because you didn't hit every goal today, deciding that your partner doesn't love you because they forgot to text you. So splitting shows up in romance, politics, work, in society, even how you treat yourself. Perfection or poison, no in between. So why should you care? Well, splitting breaks real intimacy. It keeps you stuck in extremes. It's high or low, heaven or hell, and it sabotages the possibility of durable, flawed, but rich human connection. People are always going to disappoint you. You will disappoint them. But if every misstep turns them into monsters, you're going to end up alone, loved only by your defense mechanisms. So how do you change this? Pause the whiplash reaction, catch the they're the worst thought, and ask, what am I avoiding by going to black and white thinking? Practice both and thinking. So she forgot my birthday. She also stayed with me through my surgery. Both are true. Say the middle out loud. Try, I feel disappointed, but I still value this person. It rewires your system to hold contradiction, and contradiction is the gateway to emotional maturity because life is full of contradiction. Then revisit childhood templates. If love felt like whiplash growing up, this is how your nervous system protects itself. But now you get to parent your reactivity. So, splitting is the defense that worships you just long enough to abandon you. So, the real fear of abandonment never gets tested. If you've just realized your emotional pendulum is swinging too hard, put down the sledgehammer, pick up your nuance. Freud made you do it, I just made you see it. So there's your dose of unconscious mischief for today. If you recognize yourself, congratulations, you're officially human. If you didn't, might be time to listen again. So don't forget to follow the show, share it with someone who definitely projects, and come back next time when Freud makes us do something even worse. Sophie's here today, shuffling around, and you can probably hear her pause. Sorry about that, but until then, stay curious, stay slightly uncomfortable, and try not to blame your mother too much. Have a really great day. Bye.